This is PC Liberty USA, the Central Command for County Citizens Defending Freedom. And now your host, Steve Maxwell.
Okay, everybody. Hey, good afternoon, or good morning, I guess it should be.
Morning
We got
here.
up early this morning, didn't we, Jimmy? This is Steve Maxwell. We have Jimmy Nelson in the studio with us today. And this is one of those very important podcasts we want to get out to our citizens here in Polk County. And just as a backdrop, if you're first listening to our first podcast, our mission at CCDF is to shine the light on all the activities of our local elected officials, even getting down into the administration, and really our weapon is light. Once we shine light and we see activities that go against our core principles, which are all found in the founding documents of our country, we bring these issues to light, and then we, in a very disciplined approach, we vet the information, make sure it's accurate, and then from that point, we first go to the source that can correct the breach. We take the Matthew 18. If you ever read Matthew chapter 18, you'll see there's a process, and we follow that process. So today we have Jimmy here. Jimmy and his staff have just done an incredible job of really taking a hard look at our school board system, which a lot of the activities that we're going to be talking about in the coming weeks will involve the school board. But today's issue is a very serious issue and something that is difficult to talk about because some of these issues are controversial. So we wanted to put this out to you today so you can understand our, number one, our position, and number two, our process that we're going through, and then the material itself. We want to let you know the seriousness of it. So Jimmy, welcome this morning, and we're going to turn this over to you.
I appreciate that. And as you said, we're getting into some pretty critical things. And one of the good things that we find happening is people within public service organizations are now reaching out to us and helping us with what's actually going on behind the curtains. And we're finding that these people are so relieved to have somewhere to go. And we're getting a lot of encouragement, people that are hopeful now that they have a place to turn when they find something that shouldn't be going on.
Exactly.
And hope is beginning to rise, and hope in people that have been discouraged about their careers, and quite honestly that are in fear for their careers and in fear of retribution, and where they didn't have a place to go because of that, now they do.
It's a great point, and it was kind of a surprise to us. We thought maybe this would happen, but when you sit down with these people who've been in our and doing a great job within the system, but they had no place to turn, and they had all of a sudden you're looking them in the eye with tears in their eyes, right, and they're saying thank you, and so that's why we're here. We're here to defend our citizens, and so. Today's topic, though, is very, very, very critical.
Pretty sobering. Exactly right. And so this did come from us from inside the school system. And what I'll do is I'll just briefly show so that everyone knows, kind of what's going on. This is the type of information that we're getting. This is a communication that was sent directly from the school district office back on February the 17th. Of this year, which is Black History Month, as you know. I want to take just a very quick moment to read this, the communication. February is Black History Month. While we take time to recognize and remember the incredible contributions of Black Americans, let's also remember the many Black LGBT icons who have significantly contributed to our nation's history in extraordinary ways. Attached, please find several one-page biographies for notable Black LGBT icons. Please consider adding these biographies to a school display or using these materials to supplement lessons with students this month. So let's display them and let's teach them to our students. And by the way, this is for schools at all levels. The communication indicates this is for all levels of education.
This includes elementary school.
Elementary school children, exactly correct. To learn more about the contributions of Black LGBT icons, please visit this link, and there's a link that takes you to LGBT History Month organization, which we have found for the last 15 years has celebrated that lifestyle every October for the last 15 years. And so October happens to be LGBT Icons Month, and our school system has introduced that now as part of Black History Month to our schools.
Amazing.
And I think it's important that we be clear here. We recognize that under our Constitution, people have the freedom to live whatever lifestyle they choose. Our issue is bringing that into the classroom. We believe that sexual orientation issues should be taken care of at home. Parents should be the ones that have the opportunity to have that discussion with their children when they see it appropriate. They shouldn't have to respond to their children when they come home and have been exposed to it in the classroom.
So was this information passed on to the parents?
It was not. No. And in fact, I'm not sure yet. The only indication that we have at the moment from one school board member is that she was not even aware of it going out. And that doesn't quite honestly surprise me. We've only heard from one other school board member. He hasn't indicated one way or the other whether he was aware of it. The other 7 board members, though we've sent multiple communications at this point, have not even responded to our concerns.
Okay.
So the link that is included in this, attached, please find, leads to a list of LGBT History Month icons that they subscribe to or that they recommend emulating for or studying, right? Posting on the boards in schools and having these as part of the lessons as they indicate in the communication. And so, for example, we began to vet this list, and what we found were these types of posters that were subscribed for posting in the schools. Perhaps if a student were to do a study of these icons, they would get extra credit for that. This one happens to be Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago, and recently, just within the last week, refused to have interviews with white reporters, white news people. And she defends her position on that. We see that as racism, quite honestly. So what this boils down to, as far as we're concerned, is our public school system now wanting to emulate, according to what they've put out here, someone who is okay with that type of racism. We also have Alicia Garza. Some may recognize Alicia as one of the co-founders for Black Lives Matter organization. Now, the thing about that is it is described as a social movement, but in fact, it goes much deeper than that. So Alicia's co-founder is Patrisse Cullors. What many people may not be aware of is that Patrisse and Alicia are self-described Marxists. In fact, in interviews that we have provided to the school board members as as proof of our position, interviews of them referring to themselves as trained Marxists, and that's a direct quote from Patrisse Cullors. They also talk about Eric Mann being their mentor. Well, people that may want to check history will find Eric Mann was the head of the original Weather Underground organization, which was designated by the FBI as a domestic terrorism organization. They are actually the ones that were responsible for the first attempt to take down the World Trade Center.
So let me just clarify again. So the Black Lives Matter movement, I know we have a lot of our Black American family we've discussed this with. Again, the original concept was there was injustices being done, and they wanted to take a stand as Black Americans, which is good. That was a good peaceful process. And again, what's happened? the enemy has come in and captured that, and the leadership of that organization, clearly defined on their website, is anti-American. It's a Marxist type organization. So what you're saying is they're featuring one of those leaders on the bad side of this issue as an icon to look up to.
Exactly correct. And so the last example that I will give is one that many people may recognize. Lil Nas X. Lil Nas X is a rapper that has become very prominent, a YouTube sensation and a music video rapper sensation. And this, I think, is as disturbing as the other ones are. I think this one is the most disturbing to me personally. I'll just mention and maybe suggest that our listeners maybe research Lil Nas X and his latest video, and what they will find, culminating at the end of that video, involves an act of sodomy with Satan in the
It's
pit
very
of hell.
disturbing.
It's very, very disturbing. And again, our elementary school children would potentially be exposed to this.
Well, and when you're promoting this person, they're gonna naturally be go toward that, and they can get access to it very easily.
Exactly.
It's very disturbing.
Right. And so this is one example of about 3 other things that we now have lined up as we are doing our research within the Polk County school system and what is actually going on relative to how our children are being educated. This is the kind of the first one that has come to light. We have other things that we're going to be talking about, Title IX issues, critical race issues. We've got 3 or 4.
And for the audience, we're doing the homework on that right now. A lot of really detailed homework on and how our county school board is dealing with that, and so we'll be measuring that against our core values.
An important part of what we're doing is vetting. We want to make sure that we put out
Absolutely.
solid information. This came to us a bit over 3 weeks ago. We were very deliberate in doing our research here, and that will continue to be the case. I think the top storyline here is I think how unaware we have been as a community of what's really going on in our public school system,
Yep.
and the importance of now becoming aware and becoming active, and that's one of the primary reasons we wanted to put this information out at this point.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's going to be a critical school board meeting on June the 8th. We'll just mention real quick, June the 8th is the next school board meeting. I think the primary topic for that relative to the work that we've done on the mask issue will be the mask issue, whether or not they're going to make that a matter of choice on June 8th. But I suspect that there will be those parents there that will want to ask some questions about this as well.
Right. And again, for the audience, behind the scenes, this issue we're dealing with today, we have our legal staff that are already working on policy. One of the things we've tried to find is what is the policy within the school system, and there is none that we can find, and we've dug very deep. So, and I've spoken to a couple of our, one in particular, a school board member, and shared with them that we want to begin bringing policy to them. And so we're working in that in the background too. So we're not just going to shine the light. We're taking positive steps to help our school board members. We're not an enemy here. Right. We're just exposing what's already been done, and then we're taking action to correct it.
Right, and we're asking very responsible and reasonable questions, and what we're finding is that generally speaking, the school board members are not aware of these activities by the district administrators, and they're not prepared to answer our questions. They don't want to answer our questions. It seems that their preference is to shift the responsibility to the superintendent and the administrators, and essentially not take any responsibility themselves. Yeah. And that's discouraging.
Well, in business, and we're trying to take a business approach here too. We got a lot of business people on our board, but in business, we have a saying: you can't expect what you don't inspect. And what's happened over time, our citizens are busy. We assume that our elected leaders are doing this work for us. That's why we elect them,
Right.
and it's not been done. And so we're taking the reins back over as a citizens grassroots group here in Polk County to say, okay, we're going to shine the light. We're going to inspect everything that's going on. So that's powerful. It's a powerful concept,
Right.
and we're getting results.
So, I think, we've covered this well enough.
Yep.
The matter has been put out to a lot of people already, and parents are beginning to take action on this particular issue. We've got a lot of great things going on.
Yes, we do.
Beside this, that we're very looking very forward to. Very busy. Just within the next 8 days, we've got a lot going on. So, for example, this evening we'll be attending a meeting with the Heritage Foundation in Orlando to talk about education issues in America. People are trying to get organized now and pull together.
And if I'm correct on this, talking to them, they have fantastic information, and they're targeting our public school teachers and parents. It's an educational thing,
Right.
your rights and things like that. Very, very powerful. And we'll be bringing that here to Polk County.
Right,
They
exactly.
want to use Polk County as an example to help, and so we'll be reaching out to our community here in the coming days.
You mentioned teachers. A lot of them feel helpless. They
Yeah,
don't understand
that's
what
right.
rights that they actually have, and that's part of what Heritage Foundation is bringing to the table. Then there are a couple of organizations, Moms for Liberty and Moms for America. So after the dinner with Heritage Foundation this evening, I'll be participating in a virtual meeting with representatives from Moms for Liberty in Florida, who are getting together for a push for a special session to respond to these issues: masks, potential forced vaccinations, critical race in our schools, all of these things coming together.
Yep, and so last Friday we had a group of 8 national organizations here in our office, and just again for our listening audience, what we're going to develop into is a clearinghouse, if you will, for any of these organizations. We vet them out, make sure they're the right people. But if you need to get access to them, they'll fall under this umbrella of the CCDF.
Right.
And so it's very powerful and exciting to see what's happening.
And I tell you what, God have mercy on the ones that end up on the other side of these groups of moms.
That's exactly right.
I'm a firm believer in the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world, and it's becoming apparent that part of our call is going to be to support these moms,
Absolutely.
and these mothers, and God love them. So then June 3rd, next Thursday, we have CCDF with Mike Ferris, the head of the Alliance Defending Freedom, will be joining us for a meeting here in our headquarters. He'll be joining us virtually, but we'll have 150 people or so in attendance for that. We'll be joined by Jeff Childers, who is the attorney that is supporting the parents here in Polk County in their fight against the mask mandate. On June 1st, I forgot to mention that we'll have another virtual meeting with local Moms for America that are going to be forming here in Polk County, and how we can support that effort. And then again, June 8th, the all-important Polk County School Board meeting, where we're calling for a rally, and we're hoping to have a big turnout for that, and have our voices heard at that meeting.
Okay, well, this is what we call it Amazon activism, right? I mean, we're trying to make it easy for people, get the information to our citizens so they can, when we give the call, they can come and be a participant and hopefully turning our nation back, right? We're taking it one county at a time. And so, Jimmy, thank you so much for your time. Many of you don't know, but behind the scenes, you're putting in 18, 19 hours on these projects, and we really appreciate it. I personally appreciate it,
Absolutely.
and I know our citizens appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great
So thank you
working
for
with
doing
you in CCDF.
Absolutely.
And, we got a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do. Going to be a busy summer and a busy year, rest of the
Indeed.
year. So very good. Well, with that being said, we'll wind up for the day, and we just want to thank everyone. I want to encourage you. I hope you have hope. This is what it feels like. This is what it looks like. But this is the hope we were looking for, to be able to take a stand and be that first line of defense for our nation. And the vision is if we do this in every county in America, slowly but surely we can bring our country back over years. It's going to take a long time, but we take it back from the ground up, and it's the only way it's going to work by the grace of God. So
certainly.
So thank you everyone for joining us today, and we look forward to talking to you next time on PC Liberty USA.
You've been listening to PC Liberty USA, where USA is our DNA.